I don't have any good pre-roll banter this time. Alas. Welcome to the Inside Gaming Podcast. Oh crap. My phone doesn't show the date for November... What's Thursday?
The 20...
Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving,
That's today.
everybody.
7th.
The 27th. November 27th.
Yeah.
2014. Episode 35.
Yeah.
Bruce.
What is it?
Damn it. I had one when I was peeing and I lost it. Okay.
No.
What's the most, destructive... What's the most traumatic peeing experience you've ever had?
One time when I was like 5 or 6, have you ever done this thing where you were pulling your underwear up and you accidentally let go of the elastic band and it snapped?
Oof.
Snapped and hit me, but it snapped and hit me in the tip.
Oh.
So it snapped and hit me in the tip, and I was like, yeah! And I was like 6 years old, really hurt.
Yeah.
The next time I peed a little blood.
Really?
Oh.
It scared the shit out of me.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay. Has there ever been a different time where you peed blood?
No, absolutely not.
I've never peed blood.
No,
I don't
me
think I
neither.
ever want to.
No,
sounds
if you ever pee
dangerous.
blood, it's a really bad thing.
Is it?
Very, very bad.
No, all right. If you say so.
I've heard good luck.
Well, this episode of the Inside Gaming Podcast is brought to you by WWE 2K15.
Yes.
Speaking of peeing blood, the next generation of video games has arrived with WWE 2K15. We were waiting
Survivor
on
Series was just this weekend.
WWE 2K15 offers without a doubt. This is the copy, by the way. Without a doubt, the most jaw-dropping graphics, realistic wrestling gameplay, and most complete WWE game fans have ever played. Yes. Lest you mistake that for a statement of opinion. It also introduces the 2K Showcase. You can relive groundbreaking rivalries from WWE history as told through gameplay, cinematic cutscenes, and historic footage.
What?
This features Triple H
Montreal
versus Shawn
Screwjob?
Michaels. Not quite.
I don't know what that is.
And John Cena versus CM Punk. So, WWE 2K15 from 2K, so real you'll feel it.
He's straight edge.
WWE 2K15 is now available now for PS3 and Xbox 360. It will be available November 18th for PS4 and Xbox One. Thank you, WWE, for sponsoring this podcast. On to the first discussion topic. Man, the bullets get weird on the mobile version of... We got a new setup. I got a new thing going here. So, given that it's Black Friday, or will be soon, listeners, our first discussion topic is, should you buy a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One?
Uh-oh, this holiday season, that's a big one.
That is a big
one.
So you're saying there's a lot of people who waited a year?
No, nobody waited.
Everyone waited. That's what everyone they wait for the prices to
That
drop.
always happens. Yeah, everybody always.
Smart buyers.
Yeah, it seems like this is the time for smart buyers to get in, because the price drops hit, the bundles hit. Let's run down some of
There's
these.
actually games to play now.
Yeah, there's actually games to play.
That's a plus. I mean, last year we had Knack, the award-winning
Award-winning Knack.
Well, all the games are broken this year, though.
Shadowfall.
Before you go down all the deals,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tell you the right answer.
All right.
If you're still thinking about it, if you're still deciding,
Right.
the answer is buy the cheapest one. Whatever you can go out and find, buy the cheapest one.
Well, the Black Friday bundles are really going to fuck up your theory here because
Why?
there's a lot of interesting value on both.
Yeah.
So,
And then some
Whatever's
retailers...
cheapest. Whatever price you can find,
that would be the
bundle,
Xbox One then.
buy an Xbox One. I bought a PlayStation 4 at launch because it was cheaper.
Okay.
That's
What's your
only
reasoning?
motivation.
What's your reasoning though? Why?
because
Why
it was cheaper.
that was his only reason.
Yeah,
It's
but-
cheaper because it doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
Because it really doesn't matter.
Everything
Also,
matters.
if you spend less money on any one console now, that means that later on in the lifespan, you may be able to justify buying another console and playing all those games you missed.
We'll see if you hold to this theory.
Spend the least amount of money possible.
After we read the Black
So
Friday
James says Xbox One, but Wii U.
Actually, it's not a bad one.
So we've got the Xbox One. Largely, it's at $330. MSRP is $350. A lot of retailers kicked it down to $330, and a lot of retailers also offer additional games or gift cards. $30 gift cards, $50 gift cards.
Right.
I would suggest watching Inside Gaming Daily today, if you haven't yet, for a rundown of all of those deals. But briefly, $330 basically for Xbox One. There's bundles of Assassin's Creed, Unity with 4, Halo Master Chief Collection, all kinds of bundles to pick from.
For $330.
Yeah.
For the system plus that game.
And then PS4 is at $400 right now, but that includes GTA 5 and The Last of Us Remastered.
See, huh? That's a good deal, huh?
That's not really that good of a deal.
Oh.
So just in
Because you can
terms
only
of
trade in The Last of Us for so much money.
Well, I think is it Last of Us? Hey, Spool. Is it Last of Us Remastered or Last of Us Normal?
It's Last of Us
It's
Remastered.
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 Normal-
Come on, that's a good deal.
Yeah,
huh?
normal wouldn't even
That's
run.
a good deal.
So I guess it depends on to some degree on the kind of games you like, but if you're up for variety or value, Xbox One seems to have that this particular holiday. Xbox One released more exclusives that were pretty good this fall. Halo Master Chief Collection, Sunset Overdrive.
Kinda
They're
broken. Sunset
varying
Overdrive's
degrees
not.
of broken or working.
I was gonna say, if you like single player games, you're in for a real treat with Master Chief Collection.
I know you shouldn't applaud games for coming out not broken, but
Now we have to.
but Sunset Overdrive is a working game, right?
I mean, single player, yes, but
Yeah. Well, no, there's multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's got Chaos
Has
Squad.
has anybody played multiplayer a lot?
I haven't played it a
No.
lot, but I have played it.
I played it too. It's
And?
it's fun. It's basically tower defense or survival, wave-based survival.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
But-
actually the least interesting part of that game, and for me, in my opinion, I hate that part.
It's,
It's a little too stressful for me.
It's very stressful, but it's good if you want to like level up your guns because the progression is shared between single and multiplayer.
Oh,
Gotcha, okay.
well,
And
now I
then-
need to play with you, Lawrence.
Yeah, you do. Get in it.
I will.
wanna play.
You can't
But,
play.
so when we look, if you look at the console as an investment, we can look at the exclusives coming up in 2015 because at this point, exclusives and price are the thing that kind of determine your console choice.
Because you can get all the other games.
Exactly, cross platforms are. Depending on how angry you get about a number that precedes the letter P,
900p.
is basically the same thing on both consoles. It's ridiculous. Like the Digital Foundry will do write-ups and they'll find that Xbox One had on average 2 more frames per second.
That's pretty good.
And then the internet explodes. It's like, okay, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But at any rate, we've got here are the upcoming exclusives for 2015. PS4 actually has a really good slate. They have The Order 1886, which looks pretty cool. No Man's Sky, it's kind of the indie darling right now.
Yes.
Bloodborne,
Bloodborne.
yeah,
Bloodborne!
From Software has
Drunk
the,
I told you
Bloodborne.
my dream for Bloodborne, right?
No.
That
What?
it's a super like Z-targeting, casual. Like I hope it has a combo system.
It's not.
Like I really want them.
Microtransactions?
They're like, shit. We have a lot of money now. We can make a really fun, accessible game.
No, I watched a like 45-minute, 45-minute gameplay demo on it. It's just Dark Souls.
Oh.
It's in a cool setting.
Yeah.
I dig it, but like,
games. What
it's
do you
like-
think now?
I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna play it about
Cthulhu
as much as I played
steampunk.
Dark Souls.
there's
Yeah.
a Ratchet and Clank remaster, which I'm actually really excited for
Yeah.
because Ratchet and Clank in it's always really tech focused. Oddly,
Yeah.
What was the one on PS3? Something Future.
Future Booty or whatever.
Yeah, you remember? Tools of Destruction. That was okay.
That was the first one.
No.
On
PS.
PS3.
Well, was there another one?
Regardless, it was very pretty on PS3.
Yeah.
Like it. I remember when people were talking about like games will look like Toy Story one day. I remember looking at that and being like,
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, we're there.
And then Gran Turismo 7, which I highly doubt is actually coming out.
Yeah, it said that on the wiki. There's
Yeah.
no way. That,
And then Uncharted 4 is the big
Oh,
big
we're gonna
platform
get-
defining
You think
one.
we'll get that in 2015? That's gonna be a tough one.
The tech is there, but they have to make a game.
Yeah.
This is the easy way out, but depending on how it looks at E3, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Xbox One exclusives: Halo 5, Quantum Break, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Crackdown, and Fable Legends. So they've kind
I
of
can
got
guarantee you at least 2 of those
breadth there.
games will not be coming out next year.
Quantum Break.
No, that one will come out.
You
I
think
think
so?
most of those
Yeah,
games
yeah.
are coming out. Actually, for Xbox One, I think they're the ones going to be.
I think Crackdown's going to
Crackdown's
get
probably gonna get
delayed,
delayed, yeah.
and Tomb Raider will get delayed in some.
I could no. Remember how long it took them
Yeah.
to make Alan Wake? Remedy.
Well,
Yeah.
but I think that was different. I think Alan Wake was delayed.
It was
for different
retooled a few
reasons.
different- yeah,
they
that's-
had
that's
to figure
fair.
out what the game actually was.
Okay, so let's talk about the exclusives. Go around the room here. Out of that group, out of that lineup, which console would you say has a better 2015 ahead of it?
Ooh.
Adam.
I mean, Xbox. I think they have.
Ooh.
They have the. I mean,
Halo
just
5, right?
Well, I'm a sucker for Halo, and last Tomb Raider was really good, so I'm actually really into that.
And to be clear, Rise of the Tomb Raider at some point will go to PS4. We just don't know when.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
time.
it's very timed. Like it'll probably be 6 months. If they get a year, I'd be surprised.
Sweet truck there.
It's a very sweet truck. I think Xbox has the exclusives. I've always said if you want the better third-party games, get a PS4 because you're gonna be able to play everything. But also, I always say don't limit your fun. So like get all the consoles, but that's also the pussy answer. But
Yeah, I mean, like most people, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. You know.
exactly. But in terms of exclusives, if you like, I mean, also comes down to what you like. If you're someone who likes Dark Souls, you're not going to want to listen to this jackass about buying Halo.
I think he's talking about you.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, for me, you guys know, I'm playing Far Cry right now. This is the type of games I like.
Yep.
I like shooting men in the face.
Killing men.
So you're saying
Yeah.
Xbox One?
tits.
I'm all for Xbox One. If you're going purely for exclusives, if you're going for
What about? Hold on. Now factor in the price and the exclusives. You tell me which one's better. It's a tough one.
man.
Wouldn't that get even better for Xbox in his opinion?
technically
it would for him.
Yeah,
It would for
I
him.
mean, it's still kind of an underpowered machine. It's kind of big. It's ugly, but it's gonna have some of the better games. But then again, No Man's Sky is offering promises that it probably can't keep up with.
Yeah.
That I really
boy.
want.
But that's also coming out on other platforms too.
That will eventually come
Time
to
exclusivity.
PC. Yes, they've pretty much said as much. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Xbox One. Sorry.
I think here's the problem. PS4 has the better exclusives, in my opinion, for 2015. Although I'm very excited about Halo, that's kind of the only thing I'm excited about on Xbox One. Everything else sounds like there's it's more well-rounded. However, if we're going to do the James method and say price is the most important factor, then you got to go Xbox One because it's $330 with Assassin's Creed Unity or Halo Master Chief Collection and the system. I mean, you got to buy it for that $330 is an unbelievable deal.
Those are two incredibly broken games.
True, but they won't be in a month. In 1 month, they'll be fine.
Also,
I wanna-
don't think they're unplayable, right?
Then they're absolutely not unplayable.
still enjoy them.
Master Chief Collection might be unplayable. Is it unplayable, Adam?
The single player, no. Multiplayer, yes. Even after the latest patch, I've gotten to less games now since they patched it.
Oh boy.
It's even more broken.
I mean,
it's really sad.
I am always the one who will like look for the silver lining. So for me, it's like you get 4 really good and 2 modernly remade awesome games. By the time you finish one of them, the matchmaking will be fixed.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean,
That's why I'm thinking about it too.
it's weird the way they release that game. It's actually kind of bothersome, and it's a little scary because I'm almost thinking the Halo 5 beta will be out by the time they fix.
That's a really good point.
The Master Chief
They're
Collection.
running out of time.
And
Oh shit! What if they do the beta and the matchmaking's not fixed even then?
Oh, that's totally fucked.
Well, then it's doing its job as a beta, I guess. It's like, well,
guess.
it's fucked. We gotta fix it.
Well, either way, I would say Xbox just because of the price. Exclusives, I don't think it has a beat, but
yeah.
James.
I'm sticking with the Xbox
because it's cheap.
because I think you should spend as little money on a console as
Jeez.
possible.
It's true.
And on the games you're getting with that console. So obviously it matters what the games are, but if you have a vague interest in playing Assassin's Creed, I don't think the fact that it's glitched and weird will affect that. I think that if you're totally into Master Chief Collection just for multiplayer, then yes, maybe don't pick up that game. But for me, spend as little money as possible, so that way, hopefully, God willing, someday you can decide, maybe later on in this generation cycle, I want to just pick up for real dirt cheap the other console that I didn't have, and then burn through those other games. Also, a lot of the Sony PlayStation games listed didn't really appeal to me. Not even really Xboxes either. Like, I don't really care about Quantum Break, but I don't care about Uncharted. I don't care about Bloodborne, unless they do something that's remarkably different than the
won't.
games that they're following.
No, they won't.
So those don't really have much value, but I just think spend as little, unless you are buying an awesome PC, right? Spend as little money as possible
Because you know what you're getting, right?
on the system that you're going to be playing your games on.
All right, so that's 3 Xbox Ones, Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm an Xbox One as well.
No.
Fanboy!
The podcast
Lawrence is a
bought.
fanboy.
Fucking
Podcast
sellout.
is bought.
Mountain Dew paid for us to say Xbox One.
Shut up, Spool. Before I go too far
Actually,
down
I
that-
do want to mention something about PC, only because did you see the Alienware?
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
actually
yeah.
coming out
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's close to $600, but for a PC that works,
Pretty cool.
Yep.
out of the box,
That's the thing.
cool.
PC is a different discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
PC,
Yeah,
I
it
will
is.
not say spend money on the cheap. I think PC, make sure you have good stuff because then you'll
Yeah.
enjoy it more.
Well, we were talking
It'll
about
last longer.
we're talking about video cards. The thing running in this version of Far Cry we're playing right now. What is it? 980, a GTX 980 or whatever.
two of
Still
them, I thought.
stuttery.
Well, that's just Far Cry.
Just a little, that's Far Cry.
$600 graphics card.
I have a
Still stuttery.
680 at home, and it runs a lot more stuttery. I'm looking at this right now. I'm like, this is so buttery compared. But this is a $600 graphics card. That's what James is pretty much saying. It's like for the price of a console, but for more than the price of a console, you're just getting a video card.
But that's an even greater luxury, I think. Having a super
totally.
nice gaming PC is an even greater luxury that not everyone can afford.
Of
Not
course
saying
not.
that you can necessarily afford a console, but consoles, they're all going to come out the same.
Yeah.
If your buddy gets one
Right.
and you get one, you're going to be able to play the
Same
same
deal.
games.
Yeah.
So, and also there's not that much of a difference between the PS4 and the Xbox One. These developers are going to compensate for that difference in almost every single game that they make. So,
Lawrence, I'm curious, why Xbox One?
Well, the exclusives that have come out on it so far particularly speak to my taste. I really like Sunset Overdrive. I like music culture. I like open world games that have something of a skill ceiling, and just traversing that world feels really good because you have to hit different buttons at the right time or it doesn't work. So I guess on a larger scale, I'm just kind of sick of games that play themselves. But like D4 is a weird, oddball, stupid game, but I'm glad Microsoft published it because it's just there for the people that like that stuff, and I kind of like that stuff. I'm really interested in Quantum Break because it looks so dumb is the wrong word, overblown. Ambitious, I guess, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
And I love ambition, even if it doesn't work, because even an ambitious project is still interesting.
Well, it's like Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Like, I played through Alan Wake, and at the end of it, I was like, that was a really fun game. What the fuck was all that hype all about?
More or less, yeah.
Like, so it was fun. I had a good time playing it, but I was like, it's just kind of an over-the-shoulder.
It was vaporware for about 5 years. That's kind of why. And nobody knew what it was going to be. It was supposed to be open world. It was basically supposed to be Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
you were an investigator that came to a town, and they could explore it in real time, talk to people, and they had to dial that way the fuck back.
Right.
Once it had to actually
The
be
game that came out was actually pretty good, but you're like, I can see them taking 2 years to make this.
Yeah.
So that was the unfortunate part.
That said, I'm interested in The Order, just because it looks just like the biggest budget game possible. It's just like the most graphics. Get them all in there.
It looks good, but again, The Order is another one of those
It's gonna be The Last
games
of Us,
Right.
that
I'll play it through once and forget about it.
I think it'll be more than that, only
really?
because of the E3 demo that I saw you go through, where it's like, okay, well, we understand that this is basically a cover shooter. But they're mixing it up with all the really weird, specific to this game and time weapons. So like the gun that fires gas and then you ignite the gas.
that's pretty cool.
Like that makes it fun and interesting again because it makes it more than just duck in cover, shoot with a gun. Oh, I picked up a new rifle, but it's exactly the same as the last rifle I had. So
But can that sustain an 8-hour?
that I don't know,
That's
but
really weird.
I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because of its interesting gameplay.
I'm just fine like drinking beer, turning my brain off, and watching that stuff. Then again,
That'll
like
be fun, yeah.
it's to me it's Transformers. You go and watch it for the spectacle, not necessarily for the heartstrings or tugging at your brain or anything like that. And then,
in closing, we're bought by Microsoft.
we definitely bought by
And
Microsoft.
Mountain
Bought
Dew.
by Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then
bought by Mountain
Who
Dew.
owns
Owns
Microsoft?
Microsoft.
They
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Shit.
I just
man.
think, speaking to James's point, Microsoft is God. They're trying everything they possibly can to
great.
sell you an Xbox. Yeah, the bundles are ridiculous. The price is ridiculous.
That's capitalism.
Well,
yeah,
this is.
there you go.
I always said this is like what I liked about Sony when they announced the PS4. It was a big like, we are so sorry about that last console. We had some good games, but man, we really fucked up. We're giving you everything you guys wanted. So sorry. And I was like, cool. They're being humble. I love that. And Microsoft came at me and like, look at my dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, God damn it! Like, don't do
Football
it.
dick.
And now Microsoft's where Sony was 2 years ago.
Yep.
Which I mean, it's just people fighting for your dollar, which I love.
is good.
That's all I want. I want people making fun games for an affordable price.
Yep.
That's it. That's what it's all about, guys.
Well, you know what else you should want at an affordable price? Quality shave from Dollar Shave Club. Ha ha ha. Dollar Shave Club's plans start at $3 a month. If you're unfamiliar, basically you sign up for the service and they will mail you fresh razors every month.
I'm
James is a
familiar
subscriber.
because I am a subscriber.
Oh,
Tell us about your experience with Dollar Shave Club.
It's pretty awesome just because you never have to even think. There's two major benefits. You never even have to think about razors or getting razors or anything, or if you have an electric razor, making sure it's charged or overcharging it or the battery dying or having to replace it 6 months down the road with another really good razor. But the other really, really good thing about it is it's affordable in such a way that you never feel like you have to, like, I don't want to stop using this razor. Like I better do a couple more
see what you're
shaves
saying,
before I
yeah,
swap it
yeah.
out because I know how much razors cost.
Yep.
I do maybe two shaves and then I go, fuck it.
Really?
And I toss it and I go to the next one and then it's nice and I have a nice sharp razor every single time. And that sounds like real hardcore shilling, but this is like, this is genuine
Well, you use it.
benefits that I've noticed from having it. So.
Yeah, but signing up to Dollar Shave Club takes about 2 minutes. You can then sit back and let the blades arrive like clockwork. You can shave with a fresh blade every week or every 2 days, or every 2 shaves, depending on how manly you are. There is no membership fee, no commitment, and they have a money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose by trying them out. At least that's what they claim. Stop trudging through the store for overpriced razors. Join Dollar Shave Club /inside. That's Dollar Shave Club /inside.
Also, a lot of
DollarShaveClub.com.
companies are only as good as their customer service. And I once had a razor, and then I think I may have dropped it or something, and it broke. The razor broke, and I couldn't get any more. The handle broke.
yeah.
I couldn't grab the more razors, And then I emailed them, and I was like, hey, my razor broke. Can I buy a replacement? And they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry it broke. We're gonna expedite your next package of razors and include another handle because we're sorry.
All
it
right,
broke.
you sold. Fuck, you sold.
DollarShaveClub.com/inside. Dollar Shave Club. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, moving on. It's been a slow news week.
Yes,
So
it has.
our next discussion topic is Valve put out some new, basically guidelines
Games?
about early access. God, no.
Good luck.
God, no, they're too busy managing Steam. So the onslaught of early access games that either don't work or promise that they will work someday, and then
Our bread and butter, yes.
they lose all their money and then have to retreat from the internet before they get killed. Basically, Valve saw this trend happening, basically figured out there weren't a lot of legs to that business model, and then have issued new guidelines for developers. And here's what they say. Let's see here. They say, here's some of the advice that they impart to developers. Quote, for example, there is no way you can know when exactly the game will be finished, that the game will be finished, or that future editions will definitely happen. Do not ask your customers to bet on the future of your game. Customers should be buying your game based on its current state, not on promises of a future that may or may not be realized.
Wow.
And then in additional bullet points, additional advisories, they basically say, don't launch in early access if you can't afford to develop with very few or no sales. Make sure you set expectations properly everywhere you talk about your game. Don't launch in early access without a playable game, and don't launch in early access if you are done with development.
Wow.
So
Stop
it's
selling broken games.
basically, it's been fascinating to me to watch the rise of early access, and more specifically to watch what players and gamers are willing to spend money on and the things they get mad about later. It seems like if you buy a game based on idea and you play that idea and people see, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. It seems to me that people buy potential, and once they play the product, if they see that potential, that seems to be enough for them.
They buy ideas.
Yeah, but then they don't go back. Like, they just play it and they're like, that was fun, or that was interesting.
Well, it's because if you spend $20, it's kind of, you can easily forget about it. You know,
Yeah.
like $20 is kind of like a throwaway, I think. Once you get into the 40 range is when people start going like, I need a little more for this. You
Start
know?
getting angry.
Yeah, they start getting angry. Like 40 to 60, like full-fledged games, people get really upset. Like I know with Elite Dangerous, it's like $75, whatever.
Ooh.
Is it?
That's just to get in the beta.
It's just to get in the beta. And if that were me, and I was just getting the beta, and like, let's say the game is a year later and it never comes out, or it comes out and it's totally broken, I would be fucking pissed. I'd be really, and I would remember that I spent $75 on that game. $20, I forget. You know, like, oh yeah, that's right, I had fun with DayZ, no big deal. You know? So that's the way I look at it. I think there's a cutoff there. Maybe even though, I don't know, like for kids 16, 17, 18 years old, is $20 a lot to them? You know, like is it more like 5 to 10 is their cutoff?
Yeah, see?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of that's what I imagine is somewhere in that range. You got to get kids to forget they spent that money on a broken game,
If you're the seller, sure.
which sucks. That
What,
sucks. Like that's stupid. Like I'm glad Valve is clamping down on this now because it's been happening for at least a year, if not a little longer, in terms of like in the popular opinion that these broken games keep getting sold on Steam and people are making. I mean, like what was the game recently just didn't come out at all? Everybody.
Yeah, I'm
bought
trying to
this game,
remember.
and it's
There's a few, actually.
There has been a few.
There was the one we played. It wasn't
Stomping Land.
Stomping Land, that's what it was. And it was
one of them.
totally, like, we played it for a few minutes. It was completely broken. And then eventually they're just like, oh, we stopped developing it. Like, it's just done.
Well, they're like,
Ran out of money.
Ran out of money, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, because these are a lot of people who come out and like, I have an idea. I know how to make a game. And then they're like, shit, I don't know how to make a game. I am
It's real
so
hard.
sorry. But I have this great idea, and people buy into the idea.
Wow.
This becomes my big problem. So like Kickstarter and stuff made sense when I saw like the Pebble watch. They're like, hey, look, we made this watch. You're like, cool. Like, but we can't sell it. Why? It's like, we don't have enough money to manufacture a bunch. Like, okay, what do I do? Well, if we pre-sell a bunch, then we can do it. We'll kickstart it. Perfect. But then all of a sudden people are like, I want a game with dragons in it.
Yeah.
I need $3 million. And people are like, yes.
I can make a game with dragons in it. All I need is the money.
Yeah, and it just became this really slippery slope, way faster than a lot of other things, and that's where it got kind of scary. And I said this about 3 years ago, and I'm just like, you're gonna see these things happen because you're gonna see all the bad things trickle down pretty soon because people are gonna forget the fine print where it's like, You give them money, they owe you nothing. That's pretty much how they're legally okay to just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
People are like, we should sue, or like, we should get a cut of that money, and it's like, you got to really read the fine print when you're just PayPaling someone $10.
I mean, the thing is, I think it's very admirable of Valve to step in and say this is BS,
Especially when they're making money off of it.
because they are just getting a cut off of a lot of dumb people. Because it's not that hard to determine between unrealistic potential. I watched the fucking Witcher 3 trailer and I go, yeah, right, that game will be like that.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Like, and the game's probably going to end up being awesome. But I'm still like, it's not going to be like that. So these people who see one screenshot of a
dragon?
native riding on the back of a dinosaur and go, $25, take it. Like,
That's crazy.
like that. I almost want to say you deserve to get screwed when the game comes out and it isn't what it is. So I would always blame the consumer in that situation.
sure.
And not necessarily Valve, who is creating the framework for someone to take advantage of the consumer. But I'm glad that they stepped in to stop doing this because it's a problem.
Well, to me, that's like it'd be like if a grocery store was selling a broken product and people kept buying the broken product and they're like, you know what, fuck it. We know it's broken, but just keep buying it.
Yeah.
Eventually, somebody would have to, like Ralph's would have to step in and be like, okay, guys, it's broken. Don't buy it anymore. We're going to replace the product. We're going to make one that fixes. Like, nobody would ever stand for that if it was in a grocery store. And like eventually people would be like, I can't believe they sold us something broken. And they have to look for somebody to blame other than developers, which is strange to me. But they do. And I'm glad that Valve also listens to their customers 10 times out of 10. They always do. So that's what they're doing. And I'm partial to you as like I blame you for spending $25 on a broken game. However, at some point, like, you know, you're gonna fool a 15 or 16-year-old into it that doesn't know exactly all about everything about the games industry and why a game is broken and why a game never comes out.
They just know their friends are playing it.
Right.
And they're like,
Right.
well, I just need to hang out in this cool chat room.
Yeah.
What I find more fascinating than all of those factors, and they are fascinating factors, is the zealotry at which people shove money at these ideas. And what I attribute that to is convergence of game design, kind of.
Yeah.
Console games and AAA games have been trending towards each other for a long time now. And that's mostly because you make what sells, and what sells is a very like homogenized image of a game. So when you want something weird, when you want to be a caveman who runs around tying people's feet up and bashing them over the head and then like running up to dinosaurs, if you want something that you haven't seen before and somebody comes along and promises you that if you give them $20, if that's the only place you can get something you haven't seen before, it's kind of driving everyone there.
Yeah.
It's very strange. You would think that people would be satisfied enough with the thousands of games that are already out.
It's like an underground sex club.
A little bit,
It's like
yeah.
it's like you
What's
get
behind
your
the
rocks
curtain?
off in a lot of different places. So you're like, you know what? I want to go someplace where someone's going to step on my balls.
Yep.
And so you give someone $350 to go down into a basement, but they just beat the shit out of you and
Yeah.
take your money. And
They
you're
don't
like,
step-
fuck,
they
what
don't
the
step on
fuck,
your
man?
balls. Yeah, they didn't step on your balls.
They didn't even step on your balls. They bruised your face and
Right.
they did everything you didn't want them to do. But your balls are fine.
No, I think that's a very eloquent way of putting it.
Thank you, Lawrence.
I feel like it's
Should that be on the Steam front page? Like
Yeah.
early access, like getting your balls
Step
stepped
your
on,
balls, yeah.
or
I-
being surprised by it.
I feel like it's the same thing with indie games. To people that get into that, or just like foodies or people that are super into music. If you've been playing games for like 30 years, shooters like they're fun, but you kind of have a good picture of what they're gonna be and within about 5 minutes of playing it. If you want to be surprised, then you have to get your balls stepped on.
Play Mirror Moon EP.
Yes, the Mirror Moon.
I love that game.
Yeah, love.
And even if it's not fun, sometimes it's worth it just because it's something you haven't seen before.
Well, that's like I think Daisy is the perfect example of an early access game that everybody, because once somebody described that game to me, I was like, holy shit, that
Sounds
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And as soon as I turned the game on, and they're like, you got to hold down control, then scroll the mouse wheel to duck. I was like, what? What do you have to do?
Oh, this is why we haven't made a game like this before.
Yeah, and they're like, and then you got to put a battery in a flashlight, pick up the flashlight, and move the flashlight up, then press it. I was like, huh? This doesn't make any sense. Now, and that's there, and you know where the rubber meets the road. That's the problem. Is Daisy had the perfect execution of idea and word of mouth. They had everybody saying it's this, and then we all got into it and went, what the fuck is this? This isn't at all what I was promised.
But you know, the funny thing is, people will power through that.
Yeah,
so
they
we
will.
we
They
joke
absolutely will.
about things like Master Chief Collection not working, or you know, Assassin's Creed being broken. It's like people will put up with much worse
Yeah.
to get something because of the idea, because they're in love with this idea, and they're like, "There's no other open world zombie game out there. This is all I got, and this is fun to me." So like, people want to believe in an idea so much that like there's actually a lot of power there. That's to me is what's most surprising is people are like, they'll just put up with shit.
I think this is also they power through. It's my theory again, where they spent money on it, so they have to tell people it's good.
Confirmation bias.
And then so they bought a shitty Vizio TV, and they're like, dude, it's the best deal in the world. It's been $800, and it's a 105-inch Vizio. I'm like, it looks like shit. And they're like, no, it doesn't. It looks great. And it turns out, no, it actually does objectively look like shit. But you spent money on it, so you have to justify your purchase.
He was watching a movie of just like a cow taking a giant shit.
Yeah,
that looks like shit.
It's actual shit.
The clarity's bad.
Look at it, it's got true motion and everything.
Ugh.
So you have to justify that you spent $20 on it, so that's why you plow through and like, I'm going to play 80 hours of DayZ.
Do you imagine watching a cow take a crap at 144 hertz?
Yes.
Oh, God.
We should
So
also
good.
give. I guess we should, just for the sake of perspectives, we don't like it, but I guess we could kind of understand that it could be interpreted as like learning a foreign language or something. Like once you do
Sure,
it for
of
so
course,
long,
yeah.
it's just like, oh yeah, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yes.
But then, and it wouldn't make sense for someone else to walk up and go like Italian. Well, I don't understand Italian at all.
right.
But it's because they put in so much time that now they understand the language of. Oh, it totally makes sense that you would
Yeah.
conjugate this battery into the flashlight that
Right.
way.
Yep.
Well, it becomes second nature when you do things over and over. Actually, so like I had that experience. Last couple days I was sick, and I had a lot of time at home, and so like I had a couple days where I just stayed home. I've been playing Far Cry a lot, and that like the control scheme's a little weird. Like to get to C4, you have to press 9 on the keyboard, but then all these random items are tied to your throwing mouse that you like. It's kind of strange, like the control scheme. But after a few days, like, oh, this makes sense. Now, if I were to go pick up Call of Duty right now, I'd be like, oh, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Or like today, we're playing GTA in first person. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I totally forget. And people always laugh at us and they're like, hey, you don't know the control scheme for GTA? It's like, well, when you switch between 6 different games in a week, you tend to forget things, especially when you play something like Chrome, which is like the most complicated game in the world. But if I were to only play Chrome for a week, I'd be a pro.
Yeah.
And so when we mock things, well, not a pro, I mean, look, a pro in
Be the
Chrome.
best at it in
You'd
the
be the
world.
saddest person in the room.
He's already the best at Chrome.
the
Which is
I was just saying, so like, yeah, when things where we're like, this doesn't make sense to us, it's because we usually were like, we have such little patience. We're like, we have to be able to pick up this game in like 4 seconds, and if we don't get it, we're out. Like, that's just how our brains are right now because we just play so many different games.
Yeah.
But that's, like what James is saying. I could see DayZ making sense if that's all I play.
Of course. Of course.
Same with Minecraft, those sort of things.
But anybody can make anything seem like sense then. I mean, that's the rationale. It's like, at some point we got to go like, okay, this is too hard. It's too hard to jump into. Otherwise, like, I mean, we would all be curling. We'd all be doing, fucking Olympic curling if it was so fucking easy.
it's like when twins develop their own facial language.
Like Nell?
Yeah. Well, no.
Pot away, Gascabane.
Nell was raised in the woods
Please
by a
stop
crazy
quoting
mom.
Nell.
What?
Well, like sometimes twins will develop their own language, just
That's what happened
like
with Nell.
babies. She had a
Okay.
twin.
Yeah, she had a twin.
I thought she was just raised by a crazy mom. in
Sam
the woods.
Neill and
Guys,
Nell.
there's a Nell podcast that we can listen.
I saw that a million years
It's
ago.
called Nellcast.
Well,
Podcast.
Nell may be on a particular service called Hulu.
go on.
Probably not.
This podcast is sponsored by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus offers current season episodes of Key and Peele, Sword Art Online 2, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I need to watch Sword Art Online 2.
Did
See
you
how
watch
it
the
turns
first
out.
one?
I did. In addition, Hulu Plus offers all past season episodes of shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Archer, Sons of Anarchy, and South Park.
Also, Bob's Burgers.
And Bob's Burgers.
That's how I've been catching up on Bob's Burgers using
Amazing show.
Hulu. It's actually, I love that
Hulu
show.
Plus is the subscription service, and if you are subscribed to Hulu Plus, that means you can watch Hulu on basically any of your devices, including smart TVs, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, Wii, PlayStations, phones, and pretty much any device you own, including your animatronic toaster. Get an extended 1-month free trial by signing up at huluplus.com/inside before the 30th. After that, it just becomes a normal 2-week trial. And that's stupid because we don't like normal things. We're special here. So it's only $8 a month, and you can get a 1-month free trial at huluplus.com/inside. So thank you, Hulu, for sponsoring this podcast. And yeah, hopefully Sword Art Online 2 is good. I don't know, the first episode, it got real anime near the end there.
Well, that's
Well,
anime.
I started watching it and I was like, I'd rather be playing a game than watching people describe how to play a game in an anime.
It's interesting how the current crop, like all the most popular recent anime, seem to be like, let's make all the main characters fear for their lives all the time. Like that's how they generate tension, just through the setting.
I'll say
kind of a weird-
Attack on Titan did that really well.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Attack on Titan like makes me uncomfortable. Like I love that feeling of dread.
Guys, this isn't that podcast.
Sorry.
Nellcast.
This is Nellcast,
Talk
yeah.
about Nell.
Yeah. Sam Neill's in that movie, right?
Sam Nell.
Sam, that's what I
No,
thought.
I don't think so.
Move on to Community.
It's Liam Neeson.
Our Community.
Oh, that's right.
Is it Community time?
Was it Liam Neeson? It is community time. Based on the discussion topics in the last podcast, it should come as no surprise that some people were a little angry.
Really? Why?
Mostly just at Lawrence.
Yeah,
We
just
were
to be-
drunk. I don't remember anything.
So a point that I beleaguered. It was based on an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto. Miyamoto basically said that story in games don't really amount to much, and I agreed with him because I feel the same way.
Sell out.
I basically said that story in games is fine, and if you like that, that's also fine. It's a form of game, but it is not the future of games. It is not an evolution of the medium. Skin that badger. Oh.
I don't need to. It'd be unnecessary. I just think it's cute how he rested on his face. Go on. Tell me why story is important.
It's not.
Oh.
It's fine to like story, but it is certainly not the true calling of the medium. And some people got very offended at that. Let's see here. Let me scroll down a bit. Okay, Mr. Gabriel Toso. He said, what was listing the best-selling games for? Because at a certain point I listed the top 20 best-selling games of all time.
Yep.
And some people were mad that I claimed that people don't play Grand Theft Auto for the story. But we'll get to that. Since when have sale numbers have been indicative of anything? Transformers and The Avengers are two of the highest-grossing films of all time. Any Coppola, Kubrick, Hitchcock, Scorsese, or Fellini film isn't on that list. Oh my God, Google Docs. You got to stop that. You wouldn't say every film that aspires to represent art should be action-oriented because you read down a list from boxofficemojo.com. Also, by your reasoning, games like Nintendogs would be more important for the medium than The Last of Us or Heavy Rain. It was. And I highly disagree with that. You're allowed to disagree, but you'd be wrong. I can also see where you'd be coming from with all this, but reading down that list was cringe-worthy to me. Okay.
Wait, hold
Also, I want to take this moment. You once again, you're allowed your opinion. Say whatever you want.
Sure.
And that's fine. People are using cringeworthy in ways that like it's not really meant to be used. Like you reading down a list of games that have sold
No,
well.
he cringed.
That you don't cringe off
He was
that.
like, ooh.
You cringe when it
It made him. Feel
I'm not making fun of him.
So-
I'm just saying
Him cringing at that reading of that list makes me cringe.
Yeah.
There.
it has become a term that people are using way too liberally.
All right,
like
all right.
I'm
So, Gabriel, we're not mocking your standpoint. even
Not
though
at
we
all.
kind of are.
So
No,
here,
no,
we
no.
go. Here we go, Gabriel. I'll learn you something about the world.
Let me directly address what you're saying, basically. Sorry, what?
I just have a very
Oh,
quick,
go for it.
A very quick statement to Gabriel because he'll learn this as he grows up if he's not already 25, and maybe he is. Maybe he just hasn't learned it yet. As you get older, you will realize that the things that are popular because the most people like them. That is typically capitalism. That's also the way the world works. Now, don't worry. Movies like Transformers will get phased out eventually. Because we know as they get bigger and more expensive and more ridiculous, people start not liking them. That's what happens. That's what the world is. So it's okay. It's a phase. It's a phase we're going through. Now that said, Mario World is there's very little story in that game, and that's or Super Mario Brothers is the highest selling game of all time, right?
It was Tetris.
It's Tetris.
No story at all.
No story at all. Just gameplay.
Making a movie out of it.
I'm sure the movie would be terrible.
timely.
But that game will absolutely never, ever, ever go out of being a classic game. It'll always be a classic game. That's because the most people can agree objectively that it is one of the best games of all time. Now, just because you don't think that, Gabriel, doesn't make the other 100 million people wrong. We have to start thinking that way.
Also, to his point and against his point, I think he's undervaluing how much fucking money the Godfather franchise has made.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's made a shit ton of money, which is why they keep releasing it, and every single time a new type of medium comes out, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, they make it over and over again. It sells a shit ton of posters, and it's constantly being referenced in other movies because it's such a valuable franchise.
Yep.
So it's not like Godfather came out and bombed just because it got good reviews.
Now, and also another one, Avatar. Avatar has a story. It's a story we can all sort of understand and identify with. I'm not saying it's perfect.
The story of Pocahontas. It's great.
I mean, yeah, it's a story of, what is it, the Fern Gully?
Yeah, it's fine. Worked in the 90s. Do it again.
Well, that's the Mohegans.
But regardless, it is one of the highest grossing, if not the highest grossing.
I think it's the highest grossing box office.
Box office wise. And it had a story. It did have a story.
Did-
Also,
Oh, yeah.
comparing video games to movies is
Yes, yeah.
So
is
it's
the one
flawed.
like comparing books to movies, which doesn't always make sense because there's different ways to interact with both mediums. But I would say it's more like comparing kinds of frogs to movies because it doesn't make any sense at all. There's a whole different movies I love, but movies you can only interact with 3 ways: visually, audioly,
Orally, yeah.
orally, and through the narrative that is told,
Correct,
right?
yes.
And so video games have an interactive element,
Correct. You
which is
play
a
them.
game changer.
Yeah, you play
and we're not saying that you shouldn't have a narrative in a game. That was never ever discussed.
No.
What we are saying is that when that is the hinge on which the game is built, the odds of it being a fun, awesome game are diminished. Because it's basically like you've decided to build an entire house out of glue, as opposed to using the glue to keep the bricks together. Like that's basically what it amounts to, in our opinion.
Yeah,
You're completely right.
nothing we say is fact. I mean, we're wrong about 99% of things we talk about.
But the problem is we have the data to back us up. On
Yeah, but so
We speak from the heart.
on that note,
And the data.
to directly address
And the data.
Gabriel's point, talking about how the top grossing movies would not have Coppola, Kubrick, Hitchcock, Scorsese, or Fellini. First of all, I would say that those directors, while experimental, maybe not always produce the best cohesive movies. Hitchcock made some good movies, but they're kind of weird
Yeah.
and not always directed that well. Fucking Kubrick
Yeah.
makes very art house movies, but if you put a random person in front of a Kubrick movie, they're going to get bored and want to walk away. Does that make the movie bad? No.
Yeah.
Also,
But less consequential.
We had this discussion about 2001: Space Odyssey. People
Yeah.
are like, it's so boring. It's like it's build up though. Like it makes it. Yeah.
So here are the top 10 grossing movies adjusted for inflation.
Okay.
Let's look down at them and see if they are good movies or at all influence movie development. Gone with the Wind. Number 2.
That's number 1, right?
That was number 1. Number
Yeah.
2, Star Wars. Number 3, The Sound of Music. Number 4, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Number 5, Titanic. Number 6, The Ten Commandments. 7, Jaws. 8, Dr. Zhivago. 9, The Exorcist. And 10, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Wow.
So these are all like iconic, important movies, and they're also adjusted for inflation, the highest grossing movies of all time. So now, people that are really into the art of any particular genre, like movies or music, they balk at the idea that commercial success correlates to artistic success.
True, they
And
do.
I get that some of our viewers may balk at that, but you have to divorce your opinion and what you like about games from the discussion of games as a medium. That's what we're doing. We're talking about the state of games. And my particular point was that story and narrative is not the future or what will really make games evolve or become something new or interesting. That has to happen through gameplay, because that's what defines the genre. You're allowed to like story-based games. We never said that. You weren't. I like story-based games. I just think that people take it too far to think that they're...
It's not the first thing that gets me into a game, honestly. Like, I mean, it's something that keeps my interest.
That
Like,
can help.
To go back to the Far Cry thing, the story's light, but it doesn't really need a story. But it's interesting enough where I'm like, okay, I'll keep going. That's fine. And then other games that we always talk about, like Destiny, just kind of embrace the fact that, like, we don't know the fucks, whatever. You know, there's a big ball in the sky. Is that enough for you? Figure it out yourself.
That's all lore, not
Or I
stories.
mean, like, I would compare Destiny to like Dark Souls in the sense where it's like, yeah, a long time ago there was darkness. I mean, there was lightness, and the darkness came in. I don't know. Here's some interesting gameplay. Go nuts, and we'll dip some lore in there. And if you like it, that's great. You can figure it out, and you can discuss it with your friends outside of the game.
Oh, but there's so much more to Dark Souls.
There is. There's like so much more.
There's a dragon that had sex with somebody, and then she got locked in a
I think
castle.
I saw a comment that used Dark Souls against our discussion, and I'm like,
Weird,
Dark
yeah.
Souls is an example. Like, is
kind of-
exactly they were like, we're gonna make this game
Gameplay first, yeah.
and we know how this game wants to work,
Yeah.
right? And we're gonna focus on that, and then we can fill in while we're going along and playing the games the story along the way, because that matters less. You know, that isn't to say it doesn't have a good story, that it isn't complex, or that it isn't compelling in some way. But that wasn't where they began. They didn't say, all right, guys, we're working on Dark Souls 2. So there was darkness first, and they have a big dry erase board. They have all this stuff on it, and then
perfected the game.
And then once they got that hammered down, then they said, okay, now maybe we should do, what do you think, over the shoulder, first person shooter?
I think the one thing that we never really hit on, or I think what we were kind of alluding to, is like, I think story can be improved for sure.
Oh, always.
I
think in almost every video game, the story needs to be improved.
Yeah.
If you want a good story, that's one thing I think that video games have been lacking in for many, many years.
Yeah, and so we're not saying that like get rid of it. We're just saying, look, at this point, it's still so immature, the storytelling at this point, that it's like, that we're always like trying to strike a balance between gameplay and storytelling. And what James was saying, to have your game, I'm sorry, I'm just really into blowing up a helicopter in this game. Story, hey! To have a game focus entirely on story is probably not the best idea. People are doing them. Well, the counter argument I always make to Heavy Rain is Walking Dead or Wolf Among Us, which
roughly equivalent.
Here's the thing, though.
Just better writing.
Those games focus on a good story, and they tell a good story very, very well.
Right.
Also, the gameplay is designed to tell that story. Yeah. It's not designed as a obstacle to get through, so that way you can keep being fed the story.
Well, they improved the click and point adventure game, which I appreciated.
All right, we got a few other comments. I'll just read through them real quick. I actually. So there are some good comments about us and how we classify ourselves in terms of being a journalist or not a journalist. Okay, so there's a long one.
Speaking of which, actually, so before we start that, I don't remember what we said when we were like super drunk, but Total Biscuit added me on Twitter, or he wanted my email. What did you say, Spool, that pissed him off?
He just said he was full of himself.
All right, just to clear that up, I never said that. Spool said it.
Didn't you say he seemed like he was? I don't remember the exact quote.
He just nodded and correct me if I'm wrong, but you just nodded and said he's very full of himself.
So TB, if you're listening, we love you. And
hey, Axiom Esports, man, it's my favorite team.
I got into him because he did some really good shoutcasting for StarCraft.
Exactly.
And I was like,
team now.
Yeah, and I was like, that's really impressive. We were wasted, and I know he asked me for my email, hasn't gotten to me yet.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
But in case it was something along the lines of like he wants to sue Spool.
We're okay with that. We're willing to sacrifice Spool.
Okay, so Chris,
You want us to send?
we gotta move on.
I gotta move on.
Chris Ray makes some very interesting points, but this is what I thought was very interesting. He said, I'd like to address Bruce's point, games journalism hasn't affected your life. He goes on to say, some of us are aspiring developers. Some of us want to be judged by the merit of our games and how well they're made, not by whether or not my game reinforces feminism or whatever other isms the judge, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to skip the angry Gamergate stuff.
What's the point?
Some of us don't want to have our chances in the industry shot down because we weren't friends with the judges of the IGF or we weren't sharing an apartment with a Kotaku writer. This does affect people in drastic ways. It affects people's livelihoods. It's not the most important issue in the world, but that doesn't make it unimportant. And let's be honest, Gone Home wasn't praised for its gameplay.
I only have one quick comment for this. You're going to have to play the game everywhere you go. Regardless of whether or not you're developing video games or selling stocks or you're a manager at a retail store. That's just kind of what you have to do. You don't have to necessarily kiss ass with everybody, because that's not what I do. Yeah. But you've got to learn to at least be, make connections and learn how to be easy to work with.
You're definitely right, Bruce. I agree with Bruce 100%.
Yeah. You're a great guy. You want to go fishing later this week?
But I mean, that's basically it. I don't think games journalism. So then, yes, games journalism will affect a very, 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 very small percentage of these people. But if you're a good developer, it doesn't matter.
That's right. If the game is fun, it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like.
No, it doesn't matter.
Well, it won't matter, but it might still matter. Because that's like you said, how the world works.
Well, sure, but that's only if they're an asshole. And I mean, we just saw that Destiny was it the highest selling title of the year?
Highest new IP or something like that.
Very, very close. And the reviews were meh. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of a game that is good.
I'm telling you, going back to the Total Biscuit thing, I think I was wondering if he was going to come after us or something, or get us on a show or something to talk about, cause I think he considers himself a journalist. I mean, regardless, the way we look at journalism is because we've been doing this, Lawrence and I, the longest. We've gone to these conventions where people write for blogs and magazines and stuff like that, and to us, we're like, that's journalism. If whatever Total Biscuit does right now, the way he does it, if he wants to call that journalism, that's fine. That's the thing. In the traditional sense, we don't do that. We see ourselves as entertainers. At that point, you're just slapping a label on it. So I don't think that's really that important. But in that regard, going to someone like Total Biscuit and getting, making friends with him, or making a game that interests him, that you want him to play, will behoove you way much more than going to Kotaku. Just saying. Like
These days, yeah.
yeah, that's why it's like when people are like, "Oh man, journalism, ethics, and stuff like that." It's like for that dying medium, that makes no sense. Like you should just be making good games that people who make videos will play because that's how it's going to get the most exposure.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
And for the record,
Yeah,
I don't
perfect example.
consider myself a journalist. I don't think I've ever met a single person in this industry who I consider a journalist, despite how they label themselves.
No.
Because there's a certain element of research and investigation and fact-checking and hope to change and reveal information that all goes hand in hand with being a journalist. And I've never met a single person in this industry, good or bad or just whatever,
Right.
that has ever attempted any of those things.
And on the subject of our conversation about journalism, Adriano Tim made a very important comment. He says, saying all the time that you are not journalists and shitting on people that call themselves gaming journalists is actually kind of journalism. Well, give it a second. Give it a second.
All right, let's hear him out.
I think it's time for you guys to make a choice and choose gaming journalism or silly jackass gaming commentary. You can choose both, but you have to stop shitting on the other one.
He's making journalism sound really appealing.
I think his
no.
point is that
It's absolutely not true.
if we're providing commentary on like the game culture space, or I don't know, I'm trying to follow his logic. I think he's
Sure.
basically saying that by discussing something other than the game itself, by talking about other people and maybe the culture or the environment, that we have kind of put ourselves into a space beyond just laughing at fart jokes, which is what we also do.
Sure.
So
I mean, but we're commentators. That's really it. We're those two fucking puppets, and you know,
and you
Oh,
can
laughing.
listen-
in the mud. We're just going,
you
oh,
can
like
listen to us or not.
yeah, or like we're not, and we're never saying like our opinion is valid and final. It's sort of like if you align yourself with the sort of things that we think about, and ideally we're not total jackasses and you hate us completely, then maybe you can trust our opinions on certain things.
Also, if you
That's
think
really it.
that someone like George Carlin wasn't informed on the comedy he was trying to make, like then you are completely misunderstanding how good comedy works. Like the more we know and discuss this industry, the funnier I think it makes us, or the better at entertaining, because otherwise you're just some guy at a vegan restaurant making terrible jokes and he doesn't know anything about veganism, which I saw the other weekend. So,
I was wondering where that was going.
so like it doesn't go hand in hand that, oh, you're informed on this and you're talking about it, thus you have to be considered a reliable journalistic source. I don't think that's how it works.
Well, I just like to be informed because I like to know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You can't comment like educationally on something if you're not informed.
Yeah.
Well, of course not. You have to be smart about it. To be intelligent. Like that doesn't make any sense otherwise. Anyways, I gotta go. So,
all right.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye,
Later.
Bruce.
This is a good time to mention that this podcast is also sponsored by FanDuel. FanDuel lets you participate in week-to-week fantasy leagues for football, college football, baseball, basketball, any kind of balls. You can go to FanDuel.com and click on, we have a little specialty code for you guys. If you go to FanDuel.com and click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and use the code GAMER, you will unlock a deposit match. So the way it works is, you go to FanDuel, you see all the leagues listed, you join whatever league you want. The more people participating in that league, the more it costs to buy into it. And then you pick your lineup, they compete, you get your points, you get your ranking, and then you can earn real money based on the real money you invest. So the way that the deposit match works is when you make your account, you have to pick an amount of money to deposit into that account. If you use our code, you can get a deposit match of up to $200. Some of our fans have tried to use the code. They try to warn you that it's not like a straight up deposit match. You can't put in 200 and then take out 400. You have to actually play the game. It's like life. You got to play the game to win. But once more, go to FanDuel.com, click on the microphone, enter the code GAMER, and get up to 200 FanDuel bucks to bet on the sportsmans. So thanks, FanDuel. It's a fantastic service. We've used it and enjoyed it. Steven Gutowski took our money. We're going to beat it out of him because
We'll get it back.
People can't take advantage of us, man. It sends the wrong message. It's like prison. You got to find the biggest guy and take all of his football money.
No, there's two options in prison, and I choose option number 2, become the bitch.
As fast as possible to the biggest guy. So thank you, FanDuel, for sponsoring the Inside Gaming podcast. Now let's look at some fan art.
Oh yeah, I guess I gotta quit out of the game.
I guess so. You should sync before you do that.
We didn't we sync before?
Yeah, but we'll just do
We
it
did?
now, right?
Here, I'll do it again. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Production.
I'll quit out to the desktop.
Was it while I was peeing? It was while I was peeing, wasn't
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always while you're peeing.
it? Usually I get a
two
little
sinks.
tingle when I you guys
Just
sync.
do me a favor and don't screen cap my sign in.
Too late, I already did.
Oh,
So wait, is your like user ID?
I gotta log into my email.
Oh,
boy.
okay. Oh boy.
Yep.
Chrome's almost ready.
Chrome's almost ready, guys.
Ready with.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, journalism.
Or not journalism.
Germbalism.
Where did Bruce have to go?
I don't know. I think ultimately,
Magic camp?
I wish, and James, you've talked about this at length. I feel like so many of these discussions would be clarified if we could all, before we start talking, define what we think journalism means.
Oh yeah.
Because I swear to God,
Everyone picks a different definition.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
chooses what parts of that definition actually applies to the point they're trying to make.
yeah. If you, listener, are upset that maybe you feel like your views have been misrepresented or underrepresented or that you are patronized, consider that journalism doesn't mean somebody who makes videos about video games. It means something else. All right, moving on to fan art.
On that note,
Yeah. It's just mostly people who throw around the term journalist to mean content creator.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I take that as entertainer.
See?
Yeah.
The terminology becomes
I
complicated.
always-
This is how language works.
Yeah. Well, I always
perfect.
took it as I am a professional scam artist because I have no professional merits outside of making dumb jokes and playing video games. Yet somehow I have a job. So as long as I keep my head down and I just keep pretending to be funny, and people keep watching it for some reason, I have a job.
Here's
and so I'm
a
thankful
good,
for that
here's a
every
good
day.
rule of thumb. Journalists go to journalism school. And only one person here actually took any sort of journalism classes. And that was Lawrence.
I took a journalism course in
It doesn't
we're journalists.
count.
community college.
It doesn't count like that.
Yeah. Basically, when I was there, there was a guy who was like anti-Bush, and
Nice.
the teacher just screamed at him for 2 hours. And then
No, he's going to bust it wide open.
It sounds informative.
it was when,
All the
it was
President's
when that
Men,
Michael
baby.
Moore documentary came out, and
yeah.
the guy was like, "But what about George Bush?" And he's like, "Just because you saw a fucking documentary doesn't make you a fucking journalist." And I was
Guys,
just like,
it's a Nellcast. So let's get
"Oh
back
yeah,
on
yeah."
track.
So it was
Nellcast.
Liam Neeson, not Sam
I'm
Neill.
telling you, it's Liam Neeson.
See, because then we could have said Sam Nell.
Now that's a Sandra. I thought we
they
already did.
anticipated that, and then
Now that's a Sandra drew James as a little squirrel munching on his little nuts.
It's very cute.
Can you not?
Let me see. Let me see.
Got some bullets whizzing by, but he don't care.
I like that it's here. I'm never gonna wear glasses again because it screws up all the fan art.
Oh, you
and
think-
it makes
got the
Lawrence
pink
and
eye.
I become interchangeable.
does have pink eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a little pink eye there.
Oh, that's
And he's got your little shirt. You're wearing it right now.
I'm wearing my shirt right now. Oh my god, is my face filled with nuts?
Is your pink eye back?
No, I hope not.
Oh
God.
boy! Oh
Yeah.
god, this one.
Obby Reflection drew the most like spot on photogenic drawing of us that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know how he got a naked picture of you, Lawrence.
I do like
traced
that.
it.
I do like somebody got to the joke before I even thought of it, so that I should wear a Jimmy hat.
Oh yeah, that
Ah!
makes sense. I've heard that before.
Is he
goddamn it.
grabbing Bruce by his hair?
Yeah.
There's a
Oh.
version of this that
I think he's
feel
grabbing
like,
you too, but the hand's not finished.
I feel like he originally drew Adam as like a regular person,
Hey.
but then afterwards got halfway up that boob and was like, "I'm putting fucking boobs on there. I'm
Give
gonna
it
add some
tits.
boobs."
Yeah, actually, I'm wondering where he started. Like, did he start with Lawrence's head and then
Yes.
worked his way and kind of met in the middle?
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of Benjamin buttoned it.
Go, 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 go. Hey, Lamau. I'll never get tired of the spool.
Wait, hold on. This
Hey.
is Spool shaking hands with a
Spool's really got really
with a
muscular
dignitary.
arm, too.
Is this like an ambassador of weed or something?
Yes,
I
he's
think
a
it's
weed
giant
ambassador.
blunt.
Yeah, giant blood.
Also,
and you
Spool,
would say
You're
that.
just fucking ripped.
Hey!
Like both of these guys are ripped.
Yeah, and he's saying LMAO, not he's not actually.
Hey,
LMAO.
LMAO.
Yeah.
And they're both saying it at the same time.
And he's wearing some kind of sash, and then his right arm is buff.
No, that's not the sash.
That's not the sash. That's just the rolling paper. Yeah.
But he's wearing a shirt. He's got a little shirt sleeve.
Oh yeah,
He's got a little red
gotta
shirt
have
sleeve poking
sleeves.
He's wearing like a toga.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Crispy Will.
Oh, wait, what am I?
This.
What am I saying?
I just like the shirt James is wearing.
Yeah.
Also,
The horny
also his-
cheerleader.
Well, I get.
The only thing it's
Oh, with
missing
the baseball
only
bat.
thing it's missing are the two fingers right on her vagina.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the bleeding eyes. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
what's
don't-
going on
He's
there.
crying
Yeah, I'm
because
crying.
Bruce is crying too.
And also blood's coming out of his mouth.
I think he just drew the tears a little too dark.
Maybe it's like the Ebola outbreak from Outbreak.
Oh,
You know, blood just popped out of everything.
or he thinks we all
Or
wear eyeshadow.
You guys got ejected by me or Kiryu from
Or
Arrow.
we were all trying to dress up as the Crow.
You want
Adam's expression here is fantastic, though. He's so rarely smiling that I had to treasure this.
It's nightmarish.
It's just easier for me to frown.
It's little puffy eyes.
I saw this today. It was awesome.
Sam and Sam on DeviantArt drew cool little. What would you call this? Pop art?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a term for this.
Little head cutouts on colors.
Andy Warhol-esque. I don't know. Cutouts.
This is nice enough to go on a wall.
I need to steal that so that way those can be our identifying colors because those are pretty good.
Yeah, actually, that orange is the one I always use on thumbnails. So thank you. Good pick.
You know the hex already?
Yeah, it's like 8. No, I don't know.
It's Fancy Cholo on DeviantArt.
Oh boy.
Drew me either popping out or being sucked into a computer. And then,
man.
Spool's just under the table. And also, Adam, I don't
very
know why.
wide.
Yeah, look how rotund.
You're like a
they are.
linebacker or something.
I like there was a guy today on Twitter who's, our little handles, our little like the really old, our avatars that come in and say our Twitter handles or whatever, and took a screenshot of me. It's me and James, and then my avatar, and he goes, "That doesn't look like you." And I just replied, "Okay."
Don't
Like-
make sure you notice who's under the table.
Yeah, Spool. He's ascending.
The table. Oh, there's Spool is wrapped around the base of the table. Also, look how tiny Adam's legs are.
Yeah, they get
despite his
very
giant
skinny.
wide
Oh
body.
my gosh, they do.
Yeah.
What am I doing down there?
I don't
Good
know.
question. That's what I want to know.
I think you're standing.
James, you look like a Disney
Get it?
character in this.
Do I?
I think so. You're
little
strong,
bit.
Like
strong
a Disney
cheeks.
hobo.
Yeah, you're like the older dad.
Yeah,
Somehow Bruce looks younger than you. And,
I like Bruce in this picture.
And Joel looks very 70s. No, Bruce looks great. Bruce looks so happy.
It's nice. It's relaxed. It's a relaxed happiness, which he rarely is.
I like it. They got James's cheekbones though down perfectly, and the side of his shirt.
Moving on, Reddit user Strotzy
Oh
drew a
boy.
line drawing of Adam suckling on his shots.
So, I think someone called it a vodka harmonica.
Vodka Monica.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I'm
Love the
a
expression.
regular Rivers Cuomo.
Speaking of expressions in Adam.
Oh boy.
Droopy
Only Big
Adam.
Pen. Yeah, Droopy Adam.
Oh man, am I a penis or what's going on
Gosh,
here?
this is amazing.
It's very strange. It looks like a robot wearing like your skin.
It's very Zalgo. Familiar with Zalgo art?
Oh, what is that?
Look it up later. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Kind of reminds me of the cover. Like, it just looks very Hunter S. Thompson to me.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like, you've done all the drugs you can, and now you're finally seeing nature or the humankind for what it really
Yeah.
is.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that interpretation. I think I'm even wearing a demonic shirt.
No, that's
That's the Achievement Hunter.
Oh, I was
But,
gonna say,
hey,
or it's a
demonic too.
or
It's good
a
too.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
It is kind of demonic.
Sandy Murray
Yeah.
drew Spool as
Speaking
a
of demonic.
stoned villager.
Oh, so perfect.
They could have just drawn the villager.
Yeah.
Well, I just like that they made his eyes a little.
I'm surprised they didn't make me
little squinty.
clapping.
Well, you got a
Because
big
gotta
old
hold
joint
the,
in your
You
hand.
gotta hold the joint.
You
Yeah.
don't want to drop it.
Maybe he had one of those gas masks with a bong strapped to it.
Ugh. Oh, he looks so cute with his little hat.
Oh.
Reddit user Ryanick.
boy.
Yeah, he made Smash trophies of us.
Why can't we sell these? Why can't we make
I
little
want to so
amiibo
bad.
of
We
Just need to
ourselves
get
and
a
sell them?
3D printer. Don't you have to buy a 3D printer to build a 3D printer?
Yes.
Isn't this how it works?
But then you can make as many 3D printers as you
Yes.
want.
We can start our own business.
So like
yeah,
3D printers that make 3D printers.
that would be fantastic.
Who do we have to talk to about getting little figurines like this?
I think
know.
we can. I think Rooster Teeth can make them for us. Actually,
Man, they're good. I like how Bruce is wearing his little shorts. Oh, it's so cute.
little ankles.
Reddit user DMC3PC.
Oh boy,
I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm really sad that Bruce is not here to see this, though.
we can speak on his behalf.
Your stupid kid is not safe.
It reminds me, is that
9.
remember the communist? Have you ever seen the art and it's a communist
Oh, yeah.
devil leaning over a kid? That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, you just,
yeah.
oh, it's
Muscular
Dick Buster.
Bruce.
I thought it said Blockbuster Bruce. I realized that says Dick Buster.
He's actually less hairy in this hairy interpretation of Bruce than he
It's
is
true.
in real life.
It's sort of like when they pick an actor to play Zangief, or some guy tries to cosplay
yeah.
as him. This is kind of what they end up
Oh,
looking
yeah,
like.
that's true.
Because no one looks like Zangief because
Yeah.
he's
'Cause they
a
don't have, like,
cartoon.
The Phoenix
Jagged,
hair. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Looks like he's strangling some kid at his computer.
Oh,
Reddit
man.
user Do You Even Bacon drew us all his smashed brothers.
I gotta
These are
say,
all real good.
the speed in which these were coming
I know.
out was
It's
astounding.
ridiculous. It took like one day.
Yeah, we got to give them fuel.
Oh my gosh.
give him fire.
Depressed Adam.
They should write a song about that.
DeviantArt user the Palooza 3 drew a movie poster for Adam's ball busting, aimed at the nutses.
I want to just cut out the top half of it and then post that up out of context.
I could always make it a thumbnail.
Adam screaming with a gun over his shoulder and the swastika.
I think instead of I think I can make 2 balls hanging from the swastika.
Nope, doesn't need to be changed.
Oh man.
Oh, so good. I think I've used that bloodstain before. Just type in like bloodstain.png or whatever.
Don't give away the
Oh,
secret.
sorry.
Technivore.
Yep.
On
Yep,
DeviantArt.
I love this one.
The expression's so good.
I rewatched it, so like, because I don't remember a lot of what happened that night from the podcast and the gameplay, and I was like, God, I was a real loud asshole during that stream. Like I was screaming at Spool, but it was fun to watch.
That's all that matters.
I just don't remember it.
Flashpoint 4 drew the attack on IG. Mm-hmm. This
Always
is kind of
good.
a recurring, oddly recurring theme to draw us as Titans.
Yeah.
But I just like the expressions here.
Yeah.
Adam's disappointed
Grumpy,
stare,
yeah. Always.
versus Dragon Ball anime eyes. I feel like that should have gone to you, James.
Oh, and Joel is the one
Yeah,
attacking
he's coming
us.
in. He's
there's
Mikasa.
and everyone's saying, "Help me, Joel," and we're like just not interested.
Here I come, boys.
Yeah. The only thing they missed, they got a little bit right with Spool. They got the smoke. Bruce needs like a lot of stink lines coming up from his back.
I think on Twitter I said something to the effect of, it looks like I'm looking down and really disappointed with the fact that I still don't have a big dick, even though I'm a giant titan.
Meanwhile, I'm looking down and I'm very happy with the state of my dick.
overall,
This pleases me.
so good.
Deviant user Mosh or Panagokin drew line art of Bruce and Adam.
Man, that's
the best buddy
ridiculous
photo
detail.
the world has ever produced.
It's
How is that? I don't know.
It's ridiculous, right?
How is that done?
but with a lot of talent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reddit user Maui.
Keep them coming.
So wait, I'm the dad.
Yeah, you're Martin.
Which one's the gay brother?
He's not gay. He was married to Maris, and then he was in love with Daphne.
Oh, Tails oldest time.
Yeah.
And Reddit user Fatcher Hector drew a pop art Adam,
Oh, excellent.
which I like just because it looks like it's flying out at me.
Yeah, and the cum stain on my lips looks
That's
fantastic. Thanks.
I like all the seagulls.
Yeah, you know, me and seagulls.
Shit, city's covered in shit.
Adam loves seagulls. Reddit user Faisal Abu Stoner appropriately drew fan art of Spool.
man.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh, this
Spool, send that to your mom
looks like a tattoo I should get.
on your lower
Oh
back.
yeah, I like the hand that just comes out of his side of his face.
I saw him posted on Twitter and I was like, whose hand is that? Because
Yeah.
that's not my hand.
I think it's the dude below you. He's just handing you the bong.
Take a toke and all your worries go up in smoke.
Ah.
I like the badge you're wearing says "smoking and joking" because that's all Spool ever does.
I got jokes.
Reddit user Tristan the Cookie drew the Inside Gaming manga.
Wow.
We've been manga-fied a few times, but I love how different all the manga approaches are.
Yeah.
We're
Spool being a child. This is the best.
he's still got a joint in his mouth.
And is he holding the computer of Lawrence or like a
Yeah,
tablet?
It looks like Alf though. This is zoomed out this far, which I'm also fine with.
And Joel's flipping off the camera.
He's
I
so
guess?
hardcore.
I get, but look at those eyes. Like I just,
Well, they're sleepy and passive eyes. That's how much he doesn't care.
it's just, oof. James, I want to hit that.
Yeah, go on. Tell me more.
God, your
He-
plunging hip lines.
You've
are
got the
crazy.
V.
I do have the V.
I want to feel that V.
He's got
Wow.
a beard.
So good. Wow, there's a lot of good stuff this week.
Yeah, there was.
My God,
What
keep them
is-
coming, please,
Any
guys.
idea what the translations are for anything we're saying?
I don't want to know.
You know what? I could be wrong, but I think that says Inside Gaming. I only am guessing that because of the Japanese logo thing we did that one
That's
time.
right.
When we made those shirts. It's very
Phonetically.
short-lived, but it was awesome.
And then Max Shayer finally did provide more nightmare fuel for us. Open up
boy.
one of those tabs.
Oh boy.
It's this again.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. What are these?
The superimposed mouths,
Oh my god.
the creepy zooming.
Yeah, this is Nightmare Fuel.
Oh boy.
There's just no context there.
Not really, no.
Are the mouths upside down? They look upside
Yeah,
down.
they are. They're like all blurred and they stretch weird. It's weird.
Ugh.
That's right. That's enough.
But it is original. So
It is original. Thank you for making those.
celebrate you for that.
They're scary as fuck, but
Hey, that's our classic theme song.
God damn.
So scary.
Yeah, these are the.
It feels like this is like a children's television show style that would get approved in like the 70s for some ungodly reason.
Right, but only like weird Serbian countries,
And
like
they'd make
in the
like
countryside.
1 or 2 holiday themed videos in this style, and then it would come on television and haunt you as a child. Oh God!
You'd be like, why did anyone make this?
Oh, it's scary. Well, keep them coming, please.
Yes, please do.
They're fun to watch in our free time.
That wraps up another Inside Gaming podcast.
Oh,
Before
man.
we go,
Yeah.
let us remind you that this podcast is also sponsored by Me Undies. And James is gonna drop his trowel yet
You warm
again.
today?
You better have.
Wow, you didn't even know we had a podcast today.
See, I always wear mine for podcast day, but there we go.
You're a better man than us.
Oh, all the way down.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Well, that's all the talking we need to do.
That's an ass. You sure? You don't?
That's actually a lie. I need to talk some more.
Oh, you do have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have a special URL. If you go to meundies.com/inside, you can get 20% off your first order, and that includes free shipping to the US and Canada. They have underwears for men, underwears for women, underwears for everyone. So no matter who you are and what your junk is like, it'll feel good at MeUndies. Go to meundies.com/inside for 20% off your first order, free shipping to US and Canada.
Fantastic.
And that'll do it.
That'll do it. No final thoughts? Anything you want to say? Any retorts?
I'm just gonna say that I'm sitting here without my MeUndies and my balls are kind of getting crunched.
Just to be clear, Total Biscuit, we love you. Go after Spool, not us.
Spool did it.
Spool is the.
I don't have anything against
The-
him. I respect him. I just think he's also kind of full of himself.
Do another shot craft.
Keep digging that hole, Spool.
All British people are full of themselves.
No, they're
Sure,
not.
Angelina Jolie's
Take that,
pretty full of
Brad.
herself, and she's really
She
so now we're just
retired
really
from,
nice, and she
from
does
acting.
a lot of good
She
things.
is a gem, a national treasure, if you will. She's the daughter of John Voight from the
true.
film Nell.
It's true.
He was in Mission Impossible.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
But is Double Fine the best studio to stand out and say this is what sells games?
That's an important point to bring up. Yes.
I love them. Don't get me wrong. I
Half
love
their-
them, but
half their games nowadays are Kickstarter.
You can see that in 24 hours how many people watch a video and how many people don't. So we're starting to see that this kind of like scholastic approach to games criticism is not that popular because nobody's watching those videos.
Or the same game on PS4, Steam, maybe Xbox One or like Xbox 360 or something like that.
Jeez.
It's like you already paid for the game once, the exact same game. Why are you paying for it on multiple consoles? Like it doesn't make sense. To me. That's the
Well,
thing.
sometimes it does make sense. So, like Destiny, I bought
Oh,
on
geez.
Xbox One and I bought on PS4.
Yeah, I bought it twice too.
Because I have friends who are on Xbox who don't have a PlayStation, friends who have a PlayStation who don't have an Xbox. So I was like, I don't want to be that guy who's like, sorry, bro, can't play with you. I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy the game
Well,
twice.